Hello dancers and any siblings, moms or dads who might be participating. I wanted to offer some additional material to help keep you engaged and focused during this very crazy and wild times. The following is going to be a series of foot and ankle exercises that are designed to increase range of motion and also strengthen muscle groups in the lower leg. Anybody can participate in each of these exercises. The first couple are you don't require anything but a towel. There are some later exercises that I will show that will be making use of a TheraBand or an elastic exercise band, which I know many of you have. This first exercise is for range of motion and increasing range of motion in your foot ankle. And it is very simple, but can be quite effective. You should probably feel a burn. So we're just going to sit with our feet out in front and our knees bent slightly, and take one leg and cross it over top of the knee, above the knee, and you want to write your ABCs with your foot. You can do either capital block letters or capital cursive letters. Either one works just as well. And you want to imagine that all of your toes are like little pens or pencils or crayons or markers, and that each one, as you have your foot pointed, is making their own little mark for each capital letter. So I'm going to do for my ABCs, I'm choosing to do capital cursive letters. Starting from here, we start and we draw capital A, capital B, capital C, capital D. I like the cursive just because you get a lot of rounding motion in your ankle. Capital F, capital G, capital H, capital I, capital J, capital K, capital L, capital M, and by this time I'm already feeling the burn. That's a good thing. Capital O, capital P. You really want to try to reach as far as you can go with each letter. Capital Q, capital R, capital S, capital T, capital U, capital V. Some of these letters are about the same either way, cursive or block. Capital W, capital X, capital Y, and capital Z. So, as I said, I started feeling the burn around probably the letter J or so, and you will feel that burn on either side of your ankle and the side of your leg. That's normal. That just really indicates that you're working that lower muscle group in the lower leg. If you can't make it quite all the way through the alphabet, that's fine. You go as far as you can. If it's just a little tiny burn, then try to push through. But if you need to take a break, then that's, like I said, that's okay. Take a break and then pick up where you left off and finish. Now, it's always good to remember that both sides have to be done. So don't just do one side and then say, okay, I've done that. You want to make sure you do both the right and the left. I am not going to take the time to do my left, but you can wait and do both sides before our next exercise. Okay, so for our second exercise, you will need a small towel, something larger than a washcloth, but doesn't have to be as large as a full-size bath towel. I have pretty much a full-size bath towel, not a large one, but and I'm going to fold it in half, so you can do that as well. And we're going to take it and lay it on the floor in front of us. I have to back up so that you can actually see this. I have to go a little further, but that's fine. You want to place it on the floor in front of you, and at the back of the towel that's closest to you, you want to place your foot on top of it, just so that your arch is right over the edge. And through a series of pulling your toes back towards you and making a dome shape with the arch of your foot, you're going to pull the towel under your foot with each pull of your toes. When you do this, you want to make sure that you are not curling or scrunching your toes up, but you want to try to keep your toes very long, lengthened, like if your fingers are outstretched. You don't want to curl your toes like by doing it this way, but by doing it that way. So it's very lengthened through your toes. And each pull should bring the towel a little bit further closer to you. And as it gets closer to you, you may get about 10 or 15 pulls. It kind of depends on the size of your towel. If you need to, you can lengthen it back out and start again. And again, it doesn't really matter how many times it takes you to pull it all the way close to you, but you want to try and maybe count so that you can get the same number of repetitions on each side. These next sets of exercises are done with a TheraBand or exercise or resistance band, which again, many of you may already have. If you don't have one and you would like to get one, Amazon has TheraBand resistant band sets for less than $15. And that seems to be the way that we're getting a lot of things these days, delivered right to your door. The first exercise is very simple. You're going to just take the exercise band in each hand and loop it over the ball of your foot. You can do this barefooted, you don't have to have shoes on. You want to make sure that it does come up past your toes, and you're going to just gently pull back towards you. And working through the foot. You're going to push through and stretch all the way to your full point. And then release back and flex back as far as you can, pulling your foot and toes back towards you. And again, work through your foot to a full point, and this is also a place where you want to try to keep your toes lengthened and not curling your toes or scrunching your toes up, right? You want them to be as long and lengthened as you can keep them, and releasing and pulling back with the flexed foot. You want to do about 10 to 20 reps. So I will just continue through 10 repetitions. This is, I'll count as number 3, 4. You don't have to go fast. In fact, slower is probably better. So you can find each place in the foot. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So after that, you may want to relax for a moment. Our next exercise is very similar to this. I'm going to switch feet just so my left also gets a little workout. So before, we were rolling all the way through the foot from a flex to a point. For this exercise, you're going to point your ankle but keep your toes flexed, and then you're just going to take about 10, or again, you can try 20 reps of just pointing the toes and flexing the toes, but keeping your ankle fully stretched as if you were pointing your foot. But you're going to stretch through the toes, keeping those toes nice and lengthened, and flex the toes, pulling the toes back towards you, but keeping the ankle stretched, pointing the toes and flexing the toes, and pointing the toes and flexing the toes, pointing the toes and flexing the toes. These, pointing the toes and flex, point and flex, and point and flex, and point and flex, point and flex. And again, you can do 10 repetitions, 15, work up to 20, or even go beyond that. But always remember that you want to do an equal number on each foot, right? So that you're really strengthening both sides. And if you are aware that you have one foot that's a little stronger than the other, then you might increase repetitions on the weaker foot by 5, just to try to balance the strength out between both of your feet. This is very good for any ladies who are currently in pointe, or if you're interested in doing that one day. But it's not just for ladies in pointe shoes. Very, very important to have the strength in your foot for landing jumps, for taking off into jumps, and really controlling the sound as you land from all of your different types of jumps that you might have. These next set of exercises, these next set of exercises are also with the TheraBand, and it is targeting our inward and outward rotation of our foot from the ankle, supination and pronation. You don't have to worry about those big words, but you will need to tie a knot in your TheraBand, tie the ends together, and for our pronation, you can just put the tied end around one ankle or around one of your feet, and then place the loop around the other one. And you don't have to have a fully pointed foot. These can be done with a pointed foot or a flexed foot. I'm going to demonstrate with a pointed foot. You want to separate your legs just so you have enough resistance, and from a neutral place with your foot, you just want to try and have your toes look out and away from your other foot, so that you can come in a little bit, and then just trying to, again, have your toes like they're looking away from your other foot. This one is a little more difficult. You want to be sure that you're not rotating your leg as you do it. It's simply from your lower foot, and you're not going to have a lot of range of motion when you're doing the exercise for pronation. That's just because of the way our ankles are made and put together. But this will work to strengthen the ligaments and muscle groups on the outside of the ankle. And you can do 5 to 10 repetitions of this exercise. And again, you can do it with a slightly pointed foot, or you can do it with a flexed foot, where you're just really working, and you can hear my ankles popping, of course. Wouldn't be a dancer's body if we didn't have some joints popping all the time. Am I right? So you just slightly rotate it out, and then you release. And rotate it out, and release. And rotate it out, and release. Rotate and release. And again, you can do 5 to 10 repetitions, or if 10 is fairly easy for you, then you can increase the repetitions to 15 or 20. But always be sure that again, you do both legs or feet with the exercise. I always like to take repetitions in both the pointed and the flexed. And next I will show you the other exercise. For this final exercise with the TheraBand, we are going to work on supination, which many of you have heard called pigeon toe. It's where the foot or ankle is slightly pointed inward. To do this exercise, you're going to need to tie your TheraBand or elastic band around a heavy piece of furniture. I happen to use the footboard of my bed, but you can use a table as long as it's heavy enough that it's not going to move. Once you have that tied around, you're going to put the foot inside of the loop, just like this. So if my knot is on the right, then I would put my right foot in to do the supination exercises. You can also do your pronation exercises with it tied around a heavy piece of furniture. But if you can also use the opposite foot for the pronation exercises. But like the pronation exercises, our supination exercises, or you can do with a slightly pointed foot or a slightly flexed foot. But now you're going to take your toes and have them try to look towards the other foot. So you pull it in and release, and have them look and release, and look and release. And again, you can do 5 to 10 repetitions of these. Look and release, and look and release, and look and release, and look and release. And again, you can also do it with a flexed foot, but always remembering that you want to try to keep your legs stabilized and immobile, so that you're not moving your leg to try to do the action, but it really is just from the ankle and the foot. Do an equal amount of repetitions for your pronation and supination on both sides, and several times a week. The increase in strength and flexibility that you will gain is immeasurable for all of your dancing techniques. Each and every one of you, if you try these at home and you have a question, then please feel free to shoot me a video. I would like to see as many as possible. And again, if you have a question, then shoot a video of you doing the exercises and ask any question that you might have, and I will try to answer them as soon as possible. I will also be getting out our technique class, ballet class videos. I'm going to be doing those later today, and I don't know if I'll have it uploaded by tonight, but it is my hope. And if not by tonight, then certainly by tomorrow. You should have your ballet classes for you to take, and I will see you then.